I met him through Instagram. He was really sweet and caring from the start. He filled that empty space of love and attention that I was craving and not getting from my friends and even family. I was in love. Then he started asking for my private pictures. I sent him but some intimate pictures of mine, but one day he asked for nudes and it just didn't feel right, so I denied it. He got furious. It seemed like he was another person altogether. He started abusing and threatening me, so I blocked him, and the next thing I know was that the same pictures I sent him in confidence were all over social media from a fake account. I could not face anyone and I could not even share it with my family as I was afraid they won't understand and blame it on me. I was scared, anxious, numb, and in that weakest moment, I tried to end it all. I'm not too sure who is to blame, me, that guy, or the dark side of social media.
In my understanding of the dark side of social media, it's just where people go to hide because they're too scared to be out in the world, and they like to pick on other people because they're so insecure about themselves.
The negative side of social media is that there's a lot of harassment going on these days. Everyone's getting hacked, and it's just not a good social platform for everybody because it's causing a lot of mental health issues these days.
You think it's a boon, but it can turn out as a bane.
The bullying has happened to me. Back a few years, I would constantly get name called, and it really had an effect on me, and I didn't really want to go to school most days. But I just had to find ways to cope and deal with it.
Yeah, I have in the past before through Instagram or through like Snapchat, whatever. Like I used to get bullied a bit by a lot of people because of like the way I looked and stuff, and like my posts and stuff. People didn't like it, so they're just saying mean comments. And I took that. At first, I took it personally because just who I was as a person. But overall, I found out that it doesn't matter what people say. So I'm trying to get over that. But at first, it's very hurtful, and people are just hiding behind the screen and they can't say it to my face. So it's just whatever. I just learn how to deal with it.
I was very new to Canada. I was not aware of how the things are dealt here. I received a fake call from Service Canada, which I certainly believed them, and they made me believe that I am at risk and I have to transfer all my funds to a different gift card for my own safety, which will be eventually transferred back. It didn't happen. I lost all my funds. I didn't have anything to survive on. I could have been deported.
To be honest, I don't really know what I was thinking. I wasn't even thinking in the first place because all my thoughts were all over the place. It was like, why would someone do this? What are they doing? What are they trying to get at? What's the pleasure of doing this? Like, is it for their own personal use or whatever? Why would someone want to do this to me and leak off my personal information? It's like, there's nothing I could have done about it, and just really upsetting. And I'm kind of scared right now because I don't know what the information are going to leak and how much will get out and how much that'll affect my personal life and my social life and how far it'll get out into the world. No, that's one thing I don't want to do, invest in my family, because I don't like do that kind of thing. Like I feel like embarrassed to like say personal things to my family, so I just like a close friend or like a teacher or whatever, a principal, then I'll tell them instead, and maybe I can resolve the issue through them. And
I shared it with maybe 2 or 3 friends, but not my family, because I don't really want them to have to deal with it, and I tend to keep things to myself, and so that it'd be one less thing for them to worry about. On my side of things, social media should be directed more towards kids and younger teens, because honestly, if I didn't have social media, I'd be a lot further in life. And also, I just don't want anyone else to deal with what I've had to deal with.
So what, according to you, is the dark side of social media?
Yeah, for sure. I think that social media has affected us in many ways. It causes a lot of stress and comparison between each other, because what social media reflects are the best of us. So some of us might interpret this as like what others are, but this often results in like inflated image. So I think that a lot of social anxiety is caused by social media.
And like as a female, I think it's this social media really influence like our body image and self-worth. Yeah, it is a huge echo chamber where not so savory opinions can get together and can cause very dramatic changes when it's definitely really bad, because it makes it like really scary to put anything on social media, because you have to be like, everyone's like, what are people gonna say about this, and everyone's just constantly terrified that if they accidentally word something incorrectly, then they're gonna get attacked by everybody.
The dark side of social media to me is probably bullying and just the pressure that other people's lives have on you. And
I think probably for me is how easy it is for young people to get caught up in alt-right pipelines, and people like getting fat shamed and like stuff like that. And yeah, that's
and then girls like can easily compare themselves, or anyone, so I feel like that is a very negative part of it.
And have you ever experienced any such thing yourself, like harassment, bullying, racism, anything on social media? As for directly, no, but I've seen things like that, and a lot of like, as COVID comes around, a lot of like, I would say, hatred towards Asian community has been boosted by social media, and that is just a lot of hates and not a lot of love, I guess.
I haven't experienced any harassment on social media. Yeah, but I think that I've definitely heard of the story of other people getting insulted on Reddit.
Yes, of course, there's the typical like harassment, race-based harassment, right? People being racist, but I haven't experienced a crime like someone stealing my social insurance or other type of identity theft, just the basic heckling.
I don't post on social media enough for that, because like teenagers, I am terrified of people just attacking me for no reason.
but I definitely sometimes compare myself to others on social media for sure.
I haven't, but I know people who just have like been caught in on the very surface level of, let's say, like listening to Joe Rogan podcast or something, you know.
Not personally, but like I know some people, like friends that have. Yeah.
I've experienced harassment in elementary school, and like just rude comments and stuff. Yeah, and it's really easy to engage in those behaviors on social media, so that I feel like that is also a negative part of it, because nowadays it's so easy to leave something, mean comment, without facing the person, so yeah.
The dark side, I would say, from that my unit is dealing with mostly, is child sexual exploitation. So it's either the trading of and sharing of child pornography over messaging apps, different social media platforms, and that sort of thing, or it's young people sharing intimate images with each other, and those images then being shared with other people. So, we deal with a lot where people are think they're talking to someone that they're in a relationship with. For instance, a 13-year-old boy would be talking to who he thinks is a 13-year-old girl online, but it turns out it's an adult on the other side of the world who's tricking him. Mm-hmm. He convinces him to send pictures of himself, intimate images to him, and then they extort them with those pictures. It's referred to as sextortion, where they'll send them a message saying, hey, if you don't send us money, gift card money, or an e-transfer or whatever it might be, we're going to share those pictures with everyone in your friend group on Facebook and your family and that sort of thing. So I would say that like the dark side is children getting themselves into some trouble, especially when it comes to sharing intimate images.
Are people open to report the cases of social media crimes?
Well, I can only speak to the ones that get reported, right? But I suspect, there's double the amount from what get reported. Usually when a child doesn't want to admit to their parents that something's gone wrong. We've had cases where parents have discovered that money is missing from the bank account, and that has them looking into it, and they discover that their child has, sent an e-transfer to someone because they got themselves into trouble. Obviously, there's a level of embarrassment that comes with, sharing an intimate image. So people don't want to report it. But that being said, we encourage parents to be involved with their kids' social media, watch what they're doing online. It becomes increasingly difficult as they get older, obviously, but for this, the really small kids that if they're accessing, social media or different platforms, that they're supervised while they're doing it, just to keep them out of, those sort of pitfalls.
Do you think, in your perspective and the cases that you get on everyday basis, do you think cybercrime through social media is somewhat increasing nowadays?
Yes. So it's been on the rise for some time. And I'm speaking mostly about child internet exploitation, or internet child exploitation. That since the pandemic, those numbers have almost doubled. So most of our tips come to us from the United States. It's the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in the US. They would become aware of child pornography being shared on any of the social media apps or messaging apps. They would take that information, they look at the origin of it, and they can determine it's, say, been in Canada, and it gets sent to the RCMP. And the RCMP takes a closer look at it and says that this is actually in Waterloo region. It gets sent down to us. So we call that a cyber tip. And I can tell you that from the start of the pandemic, the cyber tips were approximately 6 million a year in the United States. And that doubled during the pandemic to 12 million. So it's been overwhelming. I can tell you we have hundreds of them waiting for us to investigate in our unit. So it's definitely been on the rise, and I don't see that ending anytime soon. And just don't give your kids free run of the internet is the best thing we can do. But talking to teenagers, it's, really think before you press that send button. Don't send a picture of yourself to someone that you don't know,